Is Amumu's support back after his recent buffs? Volibear is a new top lane build that's giving him a ton of extra strength. Welcome back everyone to the 12.12 mid-patch tier list update, where with the help of our challenger players and analyzing the most recent data, we strive to bring you guys all the emerging trends and a complete update on the solo queue meta. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. So let's jump right into that Volibear build we mentioned during the intro. For the longest time, top lane volley players would run Divine Sunderer and go for more of a bruiser hybrid setup. That time has come to an end though as a result of the recent tank item buffs. The brand new build revolves around a Frostfire Gauntlet Rush into Frozen Heart 2nd and Spirit Visage 3rd. This core is especially deadly into top lane champions who rely more on auto-attacking to deal their damage. Frostfire and Frozen Heart are both relatively cheap items compared to a standard bruiser build. The combined cost of Frost and Frozen is 5,300 gold, whereas the build of Gore Drinker and Death's Dance costs 6,600. You'll have your 2-item spike way faster than most top laners, which gives Volley a massive edge up in skirmishes. The build isn't the only unique aspect of Volley top though, as Ghost with Teleport Summoner combination is more optimal than Flash. We're seeing so much more Ghost being played on picks like Volley and Tom due to its shorter cooldown and superior sticking power. As for the rune page, pick up Grasp with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Revitalize. Presence of Mind and Tenacity work best for secondaries. Volley will be moving into our S tier for top lane in 12.12. Volley isn't the only top laner who's seen a spike in power over the past few patches. Sejuani has as well. We've covered Sejuani top as a very underrated pick in the past, and it's finally starting to catch on in the pro scene and even in solo queue. Sedge has been loving the tank item buffs and is abusing the exact same 2-item core we discussed for Volley. Frostfire into Frozen Heart 2nd, and for the 3rd item, a Thornmail or Force of Nature work great depending on the enemy comp. Sedge top runs Ignite with Teleport, so early kill threat is something the enemy top laner will not expect. You can cheese out so many kills just due to the fact Sedge is a less commonly played top laner. Mord is one of the few matchups giving most Sedge players issues right now, so he's a good use of your ban. Rune page for Sedge top is Grasp with Demolish, Second Wind, and Overgrowth. Run Biscuits and Cosmic Insight for secondaries. Sejuani will be joining Volley on our top lane S tier for 12.12. The overall state of the top lane meta hasn't changed a whole lot halfway through the patch, as Darius and Tahm Kench remain our 2 OP picks. Singed was hit quite hard by his nerfs and has gone from being one of the best solo queue top laners to a rather mediocre pick. Same thing goes for Mundo. He was loving 12.11 with Grievous Wounds being weaker and tank items buffed, but he was nerfed right away before he even had a couple patches to thrive. We don't want to jinx it for Yorick mains, but the buffs are actually looking really nice so far. Yorick will be in our top 3 low elo picks of the patch and is one of the better solo queue tops for 12.12. Garen and Mordekaiser are our other 2 low elo recommendations, while Tom, Mord, and Darius are highest priority bans. 12.12 Bel'Veth changes aimed at targeting her late game while providing more early game potency, and she's been dominating even more as a result. For the lower tiers like Bronze and Silver, Bel'Veth has seen a slight decline in win rate, but especially for the higher ranks, she's absolutely insane right now. Bel'Veth's early to mid game is much better than before, so even though her late game was nerfed, if you can snowball harder early on and grab more items, the late game nerfs aren't that detrimental in the grand scheme of things. One of our challenger junglers, Skillshot, has a new build he's been playing for Bel'Veth, which consists of a Blade of the Ruined King Rush into Frostfire Gauntlet 2nd and Titanic Hydra 3rd. TLDR on the setup is that the Blade and Frostfire combo gives Bel'Veth some really nice sticking power as her main weakness is getting kited. The build allows Bel'Veth to dive in more aggressively and skirmish extremely well. In regards to Bel'Veth's tier list placement, we'll be moving her into OP as the 12.12 changes have turned out very positive. Jungle is one of the more quieter roles in regards to alterations for 12.12, as we have Bel'Veth, Diana, Volibear, Wukong, and Nunu as the most OP solo queue picks. Don't sleep on Amumu, especially if you're in the lower ranks, as his 12.12 buffs have turned him into one of the best solo queue tanks. 40 mana off queue at rank 1 has been a massive win for the champ. To be honest, that was the only buff Amumu needed, but Riot increasing his ult damage as well was the icing on the cake. Viego has seen a pretty big hit due to his nerfs. We had originally moved Viego into A tier for our pre-patch tier list, but a further move down into B is needed. Amumu, Volibear, and Shyvana are extremely strong low elo jungle picks. Volibear, Bel'Veth, and Wukong are optimal ban options due to their relative power and high play rates. It's no secret how OP Seraphine has become as a bot lane carry after her 12.12 buffs, but what about Seraphine mid? Seraphine mid had become a pretty forgotten pick, always hovering between a 0.5 to 1% play rate, but with the buffs this patch, she's made a serious push back into meta. The durability patch has made it so these mages who can output consistent damage have shot up in priority over burstier champs. Seraphine is one of those mages who loves the drawn-out fights, as she can spam her low cooldown Q for lots of consistent damage. Sarah was always a pretty good mid lane pick in recent patches because of this, but due to the 12.12 buffs, she has shot up into a strong S tier standing. AD Katarina has been absolutely crushed by the 12.12 alterations. Divine Sunderer and Blade builds have taken a major hit, so if you're looking to play Cat, then building AP is the way to go. If you haven't been playing much Cat over the past few patches, then you also wouldn't know First Strike has seen a drastic rise in popularity. Especially if you're playing full AP burst Katarina, First Strike will be of greater value than Conqueror for many situations. Conqueror is great when playing Divine Sunderer because you're tankier and can stick into fights longer to stack Conk. With the squishier burst builds, you want to be in and out, taking down your targets as quick as possible, so First Strike works amazing. The Koreans are the only ones really liking this First Strike page, and the majority of them play Katarina with a Nashor's into Rocket Belt build. Even if you're playing Cat optimally though, she has become significantly weaker for 12.12 and will find a spot in our B tier. Anivia and Victor will continue to lock down our OP tier slots as the most consistent mid lane picks. Pay attention to Heimerdinger right now as his 12.12 buffs have him flying under the radar. Super good answer to meta picks like Sylas, Yone, or Katarina. As long as you don't waste stun and always save it for when those champs try to dive on you, you'll never lose out on a single trade. Sylas is another mid really liking the past couple patches as his direct buffs combined with grievous wounds being nerfed have seen him solidify a very strong S tier position. We were optimistic that Singed mid would remain a good pick even after the nerfs, but it hasn't transpired that way. Direct nerfs combined with Predator changes were just too much to handle for Singed, and he has fallen out of our S tier. It was a pretty cheesy pick anyways, so I'm sure many are happy to see it go. Veigar, Malz, and Annie are the top 3 low elo mids of the patch. Yone, Vic, and Cass are great value bans. Bot lane meta has been very stable as we reach the midway mark at 12.12. Seraphine is without a doubt the #1 bot lane carry that you can play, but she still likely won't gain much recognition due to the fact she isn't a traditional marksman. Jhin and Twitch are the strongest ADCs and join Seraphine in the OP tier. Zeri nerfs have seen her fall a little harder than anticipated, so we'll be adjusting her tier list placement from S into A. With Lucian nerfed, he has landed where we expected, locking down an A tier position. Lucian had a good run on top of the meta, but there are much stronger picks above him now. Veigar, MF, and Seraphine are 3 of the strongest low elo champs for 12.12. Jhin, Zeri, or Twitch are a few of the best bans for ADC. Amumu's support was once upon a time the most broken champion in the game, then fell completely off a cliff. That changes for 12.12 as he's seen a major spike in power as a result of his buffs and is one of the best melee supports. 40 less mana on Q gives Amumu's laning phase so much more power as he would run out of mana way too quickly when it costs 70 per charge. Some added all-in power at level 6 is amazing to have as well. Amumu will be making a considerable move up the tier list, being placed in S. Nami had been one of the better enchanter supports for many patches, but her time on top has come to a close. Lucian being nerfed and dropping in play rate affects Nami quite heavily, as the duo is a big reason why Nami was seeing so much success. With this meta shift negatively affecting Nami, she'll be moving from S into A tier. If Seraphine doesn't become a pick or ban in pro play as a result of these 12.12 changes, we would be quite surprised. Seraphine is now a top tier champ in 3 separate roles, making her an extremely strong flex pick. Solo queue Seraphine is great for all 3 roles as well, and will be making the push into S tier for support. We feel like everyone is underestimating the E-buffs a little because although the CC duration was only increased by 0.5 seconds, that's massive for a spell that had a 1 second CC duration to start with. With many other enchanters like Yuumi, Soraka, and Janna falling down in strength this patch, Seraphine is definitely in the conversation for being the best enchanter. Nothing changes in regards to the OP picks midway through the patch, with Senna and Renata Glass continuing to stomp on everyone. The general theme for support is the same for yet another patch, with enchanters leading the way, while engaged supports like Leona rot in the gutter. Stats definitely aren't everything, but a really interesting one for support right now is Taric holding the highest solo queue win rate. The buffs that he recently received have been super impactful, but very few players have been picking him up as his play rate still hovers around 2%. An incredibly underrated duo to try out right now is Kalista paired up with Taric. Duo is winning over 56% of the time as we record this video, which is one of the highest we're seeing for any solo queue duo in general. Seraphine, Brand, and Zyra are the top 3 low elo supports of the patch. Renata Glass, Yumi, and Senna are a couple of good bans you may want to consider. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So there is your tier list update for 12.12 as we hit the midway point of the patch. Thank you all so much for watching, good luck in solo queue, and we will see you back soon.